Hi everyone, am I audible? Can I get a thumbs up? Yeah? Awesome. So we're going to do it in 3 different sections, really to make sure that everyone sort of understands what we're trying to talk. And we're going to end with a very interesting rapid fire. I'm going to ask them a question and we'll give them 1 minute to answer for that specific question. So just to give a quick introduction, I'll quickly introduce myself and then I would love to introduce Terrapinn before throwing in some questions. So my name is Manas. As Kath mentioned, I am the CEO of Bridge Media. We are the leading AI agent providers for specialist media and event companies. And I'm with Sharon and Asghar, who represent Terrapinn. Terrapinn actually started out as a newsletter in the 80s. They have some media brands, but they were very quick to go on to that event opportunity. So Terrapinn is now an events first organization. They have more than 90 events annually. Yep. They host more than 500,000 attendees across their events and have more than about 1,500 sponsors. 15,000 sponsors. And this year they've been recognized as one of the top 20 companies in events. So great journey. Amazing, starting out as a media brand and becoming a media platform now. So I'm going to throw the first question to you, Sharon. Tell us a little bit about the different business segments that you have, different audiences that you have, and how do you approach AI for those type of audiences?
Yes, thank you. So, as you say, we've got 500,000 attendees, over 90 events, and our sectors are payments, telecoms, life science, education, energy, transport. Actually, I mean, quite crudely, we watch trends, and if there's a new trend or a new market, if we think we can launch an event, we'll go launch. We're very entrepreneurialistic in that way. Also, recently become much more on the M&A side of things as well, and become big acquirers of events too. So, been growing very fast, particularly since COVID. We used to be, back in the 90s, where you referred to before, what we would call a conference factory.
Okay.
We were doing thousands of conferences a year, and then over the course of the 2000s, we started consolidating those into larger scale events, and then COVID really pushed us into a much larger scale event model. So now we're very much on those large scale events, and more recently going quite heavily into places like Saudi Arabia, other parts of Southeast Asia, where we're seeing massive growth as well in attendance.
And how are you looking at AI? Before I pass on to Asghar about the practical stuff, tell me a little bit of how you look at your audience. What is the value that you're using at AI for that audience?
So we're running very fast at AI, I think is probably how we describe it. I mean, really, one of the first things we did was hire Asghar, so he's our group AI and digital director, so he joined us in May. Okay. We made that decision this time last year to go and look for someone to recruit to help us really drive that agenda for us. The second point we did was, and this is being led by senior leadership, so this is being led by myself as CEO and my boss, the CEO, particularly the two of us are really driving this. And then we took out an AI literacy program for our senior leadership team, well, our mid-tier leadership team, about 36 senior leaders. We've put them on an AI literacy program. And then Asghar will talk about it more, but what we've been then doing is looking at use cases, and where we've then been bucketing that. We've kind of put 3 buckets together with how we're looking at AI, with the first one being how can we drive revenue?
Okay.
The second one, how can we drive experience at our events and improve the customer experience? And then the third one is, how can we change as an organization? How can we become more of a media platform? So ironically, we're now coming at it from the other angle of many people in the room, but whereas we're events first, and now we're looking at how we could use those audiences, as you've asked me in your question, is how we can leverage those audiences into more than just events. So that we're looking at that differently now.
Very interesting. So you mentioned 3 key areas, which I think if you're taking notes, this is probably a gold nugget there. You mentioned about experience of people in the event. You talked about how can you boost revenue, and then as an organization, how can you be more efficient. Let's jump gears. Let's bring Asghar in terms of what are the practical things that you've been implementing, how you've been looking at it. If you can throw some light into it.
Definitely. So let's build upon 3 key areas. In terms of the experience, what we are doing, we have been leveraging on AI and we have been deploying AI which can answer questions silently behind the scenes. So for example, we have launched AI power agents or AI power question and answer on our websites, and over like last 3 months, it has answered more than like 20,000 questions. So it is definitely helping attendees which are coming in, and they're answering questions from, let's say, who's speaking, what's the agenda, whether there is a parking or not, and these kind of questions behind the scenes. And it's 24/7, silently they are doing it. And just expanding on that, we looked at what's the most popular app everybody has in their pocket, and it's actually WhatsApp. So we have leveraged or combined WhatsApp with AI, and people can actually now ask questions on WhatsApp about our event, like sitting right in the room. You don't need to download any specific event app or anything like that. You can literally ask who's going to be speaking next, or when this person is speaking, and so on. So we are actually, building things around to make our experience better. And then we talked about the revenue angle. What we are doing is that we are like arming our sales teams to work with AI. And AI is not just a conversation listening tool anymore. Basically, it is listening out on those conversations, and alongside our CRM, it is helping us to do the better forecasting, better predicting. Our sales team can actually see, whether the deals are gonna, or what's the likelihood of deals gonna close or not, where they need to go and focus more on, so on. Okay. So we have really tackled on, how we can uplift the revenue. And then on the marketing side as well, like we are looking into working with AI, like combining AI with WhatsApp again. We have started to open up new marketing channels where, as a simple example, we are going to last year attendees on WhatsApp and saying, thanks for coming around. Do you want to join again this year? And do you want to register? And they can ask questions right in WhatsApp and register from there as well. They don't need to go to website or anything like that. And that channel, we are seeing there's quite a good traction from there as well. And then on the third point, from an operational point of view, again, we have rolled in a lot of AI agents. Just to give simple example, in a run-up of an event, we get asked a lot of questions from exhibitors, even people coming in asking what's the color of the carpet. And we got now AI agents which are replying back to those standard questions. And it is freeing up from an operational point of view. Like, thing is, we are here, we're not gonna, like AI is not gonna replace in person, or you can't have a coffee with AI. Somebody gave me this example earlier on, yeah? But AI is here to amplify the whole experience around it, and that's how we are using it. Yeah?
Makes a lot of sense, and I think you touched on all 3 areas that Sharon had mentioned, which is sort of giving the experience better with AI agents that can be 24/7, can really reduce your ops workload. Yeah. You talked about revenue, really arming your commercial teams for insights, and then also about becoming a better organization, more efficient in using AI. So that's like challenging the status quo. I want to maybe spend some time on what is the future like. Maybe going back to you, Sharon, on you mentioned the word media platform. What does that really mean for Terrapinn? How are you looking at it? And if you can look or maybe throw some light on how AI may be part of it.
So the way that we're currently looking at it is, so as an event organizer, we look at our audiences in terms of exhibitors and sponsors, attendees, speakers, guests, VIPs, or those, how you're attending the event. And that's how we're structured as a business. It's how our technology is structured. It's how our language is structured internally. But what we're looking at doing is flipping that on its head a lot. And really, a media platform is, and Natasha talked about this on the last session as well, is where sellers meet buyers or buyers meet sellers, and they solve problems together. And then you can commercialize that, and you can build different media products around it. So, and we believe that we can use AI to really help us identify who are the buyers and who are the sellers through data enrichments, but really also looking at getting signals from beyond, not just from the event and not just from our data, but from the data that is out there as well. So we're looking on how we can build those signals, and then when someone's at the event, we can augment that even more by virtue of what session you're in or who you're talking to or what's being said. So yeah, flipping it on its head. It's coming from an event organizer, and then we can look at it more then on how we can build other products around that. We'll probably end up doing more events because that's in our DNA, but it gives us the opportunity to look at it differently.
Very interesting. I'm going to double click a very small question, and then I have a question for you, Asghar, as well. You mentioned about data. This is something that I've heard across the media sector, where there is a very famous and maybe infamous saying that there are millions of data points and very few insights. Media companies are rich in data and poor in insights. There are different variations of it. I'm not going to give you another variation, don't worry. But what do you think about it? Do you also feel Terrapinn has something similar?
We probably don't have enough insight, actually, because we're just events, whereas some of the publishing companies get more insight because they've got multi-products that they're selling to people. But yeah, there are so many insights that you can get. And now with AI, there are so many more that's available out there that you can go and grab on the people attending your events or whatever they're doing in your data set to further enrich and do it. But then it is how you can interpret that. And that's where I think AI can really then help us go, okay, so what, where's the gold in all of that, and trying to distill that down, and that's for the human, that's really hard.
Right.
And for AI, I think that can really help us do that. Get the insight and the signals, and then help us translate it.
No, I absolutely see Asghar's next project being really making sense of data, but let's touch on that. So we've discussed a lot of use cases. We've looked at what is the future going to be for Terrapinn. But what are your key considerations? How do you evaluate what kind of AI project and what kind of AI partner you want to go for and make sure it's future-proof for Terrapinn?
Yeah, definitely. So actually, my background is product management, and something I learned there is pick up a use case, put some hypothesis or some matrices, and then very quickly go and do the experimentation to either prove your hypothesis or disprove the hypothesis, if that's the word, yeah. So that's how we're doing it. We very quickly look at where the pain point is or where we can leverage on AI to bring some improvements. We set up the test, we set up some matrices, we test it on, let's say, one event, and if we see the results, then we very quickly scale it out to rest of our events. We run like 90 plus events and so on. So that's one of the key ingredients, and that's how we are working. And there are some cases where we have done some pilots and they haven't been really successful. But if you ask me, I think there are like three things that are very crucial, like in terms of having a visibility of what the AI is doing or AI agents are doing, having some control on it. Like otherwise it becomes very difficult to walk through several stakeholders. So and be able to continuously repeat on on the stuff. So that kind of helps. But I think the key thing is like pick up a use case, quickly put together an experiment and see whether you can prove your matrices or not. Yeah.
Interesting. And maybe this is for both of you, if we can go one by one. What has been the best or the most important learnings so far doing all of this, these different AI projects, if you can share or distill some important learnings?
I think the one of the most important learning is like treat AI, especially agents, as a new graduate coming out of uni. You need to work with them, you need to train them, they will do mistakes, but yes, so it's not like you can hand over everything and they will work perfectly. So they will do, they do mistakes, so you continuously need to work with,
not be afraid of failure, right?
Well, yes, yeah.
Especially with the new technology.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think coming off of that as well is an advantage we've got with 90 events. We can test quickly because there's always an event next week, so we can, and Asghar can run very fast. So we can come up with an idea, we can get a prototype or a POC together pretty quickly with some good partners, and then we can get it on an event and test it in live quite quick. And our philosophy is to do that 2 or 3 times, or it'll probably fail first time. If it's going to fail, it'll fail on the first one, and then if it's a winner, then we'll roll straight away. So that's test quick, fail quick and then roll quick if it's working. So
Very
for us,
good.
that's a
I really like it.
learning.
And in fact, one of the phrases that has stuck with me as a professional is, if you're afraid of failures, you will eventually fail, because failures are sort of like the tuition fee for success, right? So, but I love the points that you mentioned: being agile, fail fast, scale fast on whatever is working.
Oh, and everything's changing so quickly, right? So you can't spend too long, and you can't go for perfect. You've got to get it out quick, test it, see what happens, and then you can keep iterating further on once you've proven the base hypothesis.
And you learn from it. Even if, let's say, something hasn't gone as you planned, you learn from it. And then the next experiment you're doing or the next event you're doing, you do it slightly better. So even a small increment changes do make a difference when you scale it out to like 90 events.
No, absolutely. And we've been working with you guys for more than 4 or 5 months now, and I have been truly impressed with the agility and the kind of ways that
I like the way you make that sound like it's a long time, but we've done a lot, right, in 4 months.
We have.
Yeah.
We've actually done more than 30 different events where you've been using our agents, which has been phenomenal, honestly. So we come to the last part, which is going to be the most fun part. I'm going to ask you one question, where you have to answer in 1 minute, which is one advice of what the audience should stop doing when it comes to events and start doing. That's the question. If you need 10 seconds to think about it, no worries, but it's supposed to be rapid
With
fire.
events or with AI?
With events and AI,
Okay.
the business sort of that we are talking about. But one thing that you would advise the audience to start doing, and one advice that they should start and stop. Sorry, I don't know whether I should stop first or start first. Shine, if you're ready.
Well, I would start where we started, and I think you've got to start with senior leadership. You need senior leadership on board. So if you're a senior leader, start understanding AI and teaching yourself, and then get your team, get some literacy. So at least you've got common language in the organisation. So that's definitely where I'd be starting. And what I would stop doing is I would stop thinking that AI is going to save you money, and stop looking at it as, my CEO constantly says to me, when can I fire the marketing team? I'm a marketer, so I don't like that question anyway. But
Wow.
but it's not about cost saving. For me, it's about how you can generate more revenue and change your experiences. So looking at it from that way. So stop thinking of it as cost saving. It's actually going to cost you more money in the short term.
Awesome. So start from the top, build momentum from the top, and stop looking at it as a cost-saving measure. Awesome. That's good.
I think someone who's entering new into AI in the event industry, I would say don't be afraid to do experiments. Pick up a scenario, test, trial, and work with partners. You don't need to really build the whole thing from scratch yourself. There are like so many partners out there. Work with them. They are specialists. And and so on. I think if you ask me, stop doing. I also wear a digital hat as well in Terrapinn. I would say stop doing multi-year contracts with software as a service provider companies. I think those days are really gone now. I think the tech world is changing quite a lot, and there are a lot more agile.
Interesting.
Possibilities. Yeah.
So start doing experimenting, stop signing long-term contracts. I love it. I'm going to take a go as well, if you guys don't mind. So my take is stop doing AI for the sake of doing AI. Start looking at your goals and roadblocks, and then see what AI can do to augment it. That would be my advice. We have about 45 seconds left on the timer. I don't know if we can entertain one question or not. One question, if there is any from the audience, happy to take it. No? We were crystal clear, guys. This is amazing. Thank you so much, everyone.
You answered every question.
It seems like
So
it.
good job. It was a great presentation when you answered every question. Thank you so much, Sharon, Askar, and Manas.
Thank you.